I felt most of my professional life that I've been creatively homeless, but I've also learned when the market doesn't create a space for you, you have to create your own space. My name is Sho Baraka. Actually, a Misho in my childhood. Teachers couldn't even pronounce it properly. And so for first part of my life, I was actually kind of ashamed of my name. And it wasn't until I got around high school that I started to really embrace the identity and who I was as a young black man in this country. I go to college. While I'm there, I become a Christian. The gospel message started to really do a work in me. What does it mean to live a good life? And this faith, this Christianity was challenging that. I'm like, I gotta change my life. I see, left up to myself, I will not flourish. I will not do good. But if I trust and believe in this God who said he made all things good, then maybe, just maybe, I can live a better life. So here I am, an individual with this new worldview, and I came from this revolutionary background, and so there seemed to be a little dissonance. I realized as I was making art, as I was doing the things that I love to do, I would find myself in conflict with certain people because they wanted me to perform. They wanted me to be on stages, but they didn't like all of the things that I was espousing on the stage. And that became very disheartening for me because I was thinking we're on the same team, right? Well, aren't we all believers? Don't we all have the same faith? I didn't want to become a mercenary for political agenda. There's this tension this war that's happening within me. But at the same time, I'm producing music. You start to grow an audience. You start to grow a fan base. And sometimes that fan base and that audience has expectations of you. And you potentially begin to form and shape your content around those expectations in order to keep those platforms. As I said, I grew up in this revolutionary household in urban context, and I felt like my audiences were becoming more suburban, more white evangelical. There was a part of who I was that was being asked to be left at home when I was going to hit the stage. I only tolerated that for a short period of time before I said, you know what, maybe I need to make a pivot. I kind of live in this liminal space of talking about justice and speaking to culture, but I also want to talk about my faith. But there aren't many outlets who will allow me to do that authentically. And then I said, you know what, I want to do this. And other artists started to say, Sho, I'm with you. And we started a collective called High Society. I said, you know what, I feel like the religious institutions I'm a part of aren't really talking about politics and justice in the way that I think is healthy. People aren't politically literate in the church. We started an organization called the AND Campaign. I wanted to be an individual who cared about academics and writing, but I found like a lot of folks in my spaces weren't excited about that. And so I began to create a community of folks around that. Now I lead up a Big Tent initiative where we try to bring in writers. And so everywhere that I'm placed, I find that we need to do this work in communities. You don't flourish in spite of people, you flourish with people. My family has played a huge role in me being an advocate for justice and doing good, mainly because I have two boys on the autism spectrum. And if you know anything about individuals on the autism spectrum, you know you have to constantly advocate for them. And because of my advocacy for my boys, it's taught me to be a more compassionate person everywhere. That has helped me not only to find my own home, but it's helped me to create a space for other people to be encouraged, for other people to find outlets for their music, for their art, for their thinking. The way that I see the connection between creativity, flourishing, and community goes back to, I think, one of the greatest stories ever told, which is the story in Genesis where God creates. And he doesn't just create out of passive activity. He creates with intention. He creates, and after he creates, he says what? It is good. The more you become a person who tends to the heart and the soul of your garden, I think the flowers you pick, the things you pull from your soul just naturally blesses others. Our creativity is love made visible. And that to me is what flourishing is. And you do that for the benefit of others, and that creates community.